It is GrokTALK.
Grok.
Alright, we have got to decide
Grok.
what our WTF is going to be.
Well, I have a brand new entry.
Oh, well, it's always another entry. That's the beauty of being a political blogger. Just wait a minute, and somebody's calling us. It must be Mike.
Oh.
Who was going to call us, but he couldn't because of the... Because I had everybody on the phones. Which line's he on? One? Okay.
Yep, put him on.
Put Mike on. Mike! Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, we couldn't stop the conversation, so we sorry to keep you off then. Alright, so... yeah. Well, there was some breaking up just because of the way I have to juggle phone lines. But anyway, Skip says he has a new entrant in this week's WTF, so let's find out what is that.
Yes, White House fears President Cruz will overturn executive amnesty. And let me give you the background. White House senior advisor Dan Pfeiffer conceded that he fears a President Ted Cruz will overturn President Barack Obama's executive amnesty, perhaps signaling that Cruz represents the greatest threat to the progressive left, and I certainly agree with that. But here's the thing that drives that statement. No. But here's why Dan Pfeiffer said this. Over our first 100 days, we spent a lot of time signing executive orders undoing what George Bush had done, and I would not like to be sitting on a beach somewhere reading about President Cruz doing that to us. So it's very important to us. In other words, they're going to do everything they can to destroy and demonize Ted Cruz now, so that I would love to see some presidential candidate on the right running to say, I promise that on the first day, my first executive order repeals all of President Obama's executive orders. I'd be a happy camper. Yep, I would love to see that happen. And if they're scared of it, it shows you. Well, here's the thing that also drove me crazy. Earlier in the day, Pfeiffer declared, and I haven't blogged about this yet, I put it aside, that Obama's executive amnesty was one of the reasons that made 2014 a year of great progress for the progressive agenda. Let's translate that, shall we? It says that he loves being a dictator, using only his pen to do what he wants to without going through the time-honored American way of making law, which is through legislation and checks and balances. He wants to be king. He wants to be emperor. And it also shows that's pretty much the only way that the progressives can get their agenda moved forward at a reasonable pace, because if they ever ran a campaign on being a progressive, most of the time they're gonna lose.
So you put up that map of the
red states.
The red states and
the
blue states.
And they've been calling the Republicans for years a regional party.
Yeah,
that's a big region.
The region is almost all of the U.S.
Yeah, and it's not just in the U.S. House and Senate, but it's almost a complete wipeout of the Democrats at the state level, with 31 governorships, 66% of all the legislative seats, and in more than half, I think it is, the Republicans outright own both the upper and lower chambers in those states.
But the only office that currently matters is the office of the president, because the president can do whatever the hell they want, according to Democrats.
And will the Republicans get that message, Mike, that they've let the federal government get so large? That's the whole reason why he gets to do and can do what he wants to. Are they going to make the connection? Gosh, big government, executive orders. How do we break this? Mike?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
I'm here. I don't know. The right thing to do is make it possible for the president to do this by himself. The question is whether Republicans will ever stop us the necessary force.
Democrats would.
Yeah, and well, Democrats are trying to sit up so we can never undo it. What we need is a president willing to undo it, willing to take the arrows and what he just couldn't want to do. And, I'm backing up to that. And once we've undone this job, we're going to make sure it can't happen.
Well, I think a lot of what has happened in the last 6 years comes from Obama's background. I'm not even going to get into the birther area, area, because it's just worthless speak. But I can posit, like a lot of other people, Obama isn't like most of our other presidents because he didn't really grow up in all that of an American environment. You know, you take somebody from the flyover country. The outlook on America is far different there than the schooling and the life experiences that he had, which were a lot of times during his formative years, other than the traditional American values. I don't think anybody can dispute that. That shows in the way that he has tried to govern and the way he looks at America in general. I think this is one of the great problems that the founders could not anticipate, and this is why we've gotten what we've got. Plus, you know, driven by that foreign political philosophy called progressivism that started under von Bismarck and then grabbed over here by the pointy-headed academicians.
Yeah, and of course, the fake involved. Okay. But you know, they did access the fake. They insisted that you have to be born in America, you were American, this is still better. And Obama,
That's just racist.
Well, you know,
In fact, did I just lose you? I think in fact he just maybe the NSA cut him off.
I think we did lose him.
Okay. In fact, we're gonna pick our WTF because we're running out of time. I gotta be honest with you, we had a lot of good choices. I think we're gonna have to go with the roll call rules change because that's got a lot of. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna not vote that. And they have enough Democrats, and the rhinos will vote for that on the floor.
Yep.
So I think that we're going to have to do that. They're going to have to find a way to get a block of 20 people who are always ready to go. Roll call. Oh, here he is. He's back. So we're going to bring him back into the show. You there, Mike?
yeah.
Yeah, I said the NSA. You heard me, right? The NSA cut you off.
Well, I would agree with you with the WTF being the roll call change by Democrat-appointed Speaker Jasper, because under our rubric of Screw DC, Save New Hampshire, this is much more germane to our lives today, in the now, here in New Hampshire, than anything else that Obama is doing. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot bad that he will force down our throats, but this is important
Well,
stuff.
this is an opportunity for us at the state level to do things that need to be done to protect us from the federal government, like we've been saying, and we need this kind of transparency. And the first thing they do out of the gate is whatever they can to make sure we don't have it.
Correct. Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys don't want this transparency, that's why I said it earlier. Just as we were facing the other thing, this is like rats, like you get rat
Democrats. That was sort of a yawn. Sorry. I didn't sleep much last night. Anyway.
But you've had enough coffee to make you jittery.
I'm jittery, definitely jittery. If you watch me on live stream, my hands are all shaky because of the caffeine.
I actually had to ask about, are you okay?
I thought I was having epilepsy or something. I had a couple cups at home, and well, vocally I could get some Tourette's in there, stumbling over everything I say. I do have a condition, but it has nothing to do with speaking or moving my fingers. So, you're some crazy right-wing hater. Yeah, I think I just addressed that this morning. Read GrokTALK.com if you want to know what I said. So we have about 4 minutes left. We've got our roll call. I think we need to really work that 20 thing, that roll call change. I mean, they're not going to vote on it until the first session when they actually go back in January. So we have between now and January to really work this. I mean, it just plays into everything. It comes out the same day as Drew Klein's editorial saying, you really got to stop over-hunting rhinos. The rhinos just made it harder to find rhinos.
Well, that thing that Jane brought up also about, Guy brought up, that before they could sign the piece of paper saying, sort of a pre-second type of deal, now they've got to be in their seats. Well, that basically makes that irrelevant, because if you're in your seat anyways, yeah, you can stand up.
You don't need to sign anything.
Right.
So I think that what they should do is just get a roll call on everything. That might be the solution. The solution might be that every time somebody stands up, every single vote, just somebody stands up and says roll call, and then immediately the entire 120 or however many of them all stand up and second it. They're going to have to do it every single time. That's the only way.
Can we get our two new conservative New Hampshire state senators, Gary Daniels and Kevin Avard, to do the same thing in the Senate?
I don't know what their rules are, but yeah, we should ask them, because that's a problem that we only brushed past. I think I may have interrupted Mike while he was talking or something and said, the Senate, everybody bitches about the Senate not doing roll calls.
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean,
and
except for the rhinos in the Senate, and they don't want them for the same reason.
Yeah. Mike, you still there?
Derailed your train of thought. Who else have we got in the Senate? Cataldo? He's still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is there?
He'd go for it. Cataldo. We got anybody else over there? I can't remember. I don't think so. I think that's it. They're all just Democrats and...
They're progressive Republicans.
They're progressive Republicans.
A couple others may not be, but for the most part, the progressive Republicans are those that are running the show there.
I know there's a few that will be a little bit more cautious this year about some of the votes that they cast. They'll certainly not want anybody to know, but we're going to have to ask our good friends Gary Daniels and Kevin Avard to make mental notes, or actually write down notes about how people vote in the Senate, because that might be the only way we find out. And so they won't be very popular for that, but if we can't get roll calls out of that body, we need to do something.
We need to get cameras of our own installed where they meet.
Do they? Don't they have cameras in there?
Yeah, well, we want them to several cameras so that we can watch everybody's lips.
Yes, we are looking for lip readers, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, hey, just a quick shout out. If you are one of those people who spends a lot of time reading or following a specific piece of media in New Hampshire, be it MUR Online, or maybe Seacoast Online, or the Union Leader, the Telegraph, or the Concord Monitor, and you do it daily. You make it a part of your morning to go and read these online venues. Online is better for us. That's what we're looking for. We'd like you to reach out to us and let us know who you are, because we have a job for you. And maybe we'll talk about that later. But we're running out of time. Mike, thanks so much for calling us from India. We look forward to seeing you when you come back in 2 days. Hope you have a safe flight.
So do I. Thank you very much. It's going to be an exciting couple of days as I trip to Mysore. It's not an overly in fact, the former teacher of the Maharaja and a whole lot of great temple and a bunch of other stuff.
All right, I'm cutting you off because we're out of time, because that's what I do at the end of the show. Thank you so much for coming in there. I am Steve McDonald here with Skip Murphy. We are GrokTALK. Thanks again to Joe DeLeo and Ron Moore, and of course to Guy Comtois and Jane Cormier. We'll talk to you next week.
GrokTV.